Why don't the Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
ليش ما الفلسطينية يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيلية عشان يلاقوا حل؟
ما هي عشان تحكي عن مواضع أجدادنا، إنه صعب تتفاوض على أرض ملكك.
كمان مرة.
هي عشان الأرض تابعة للأجداد، يعني إنه صعب إنه الواحد يتفاوض على شيء إله ويحكي يشارك الغريب فيه.
This is a land that belongs to our ancestors and grandfathers. It is hard to share it with strangers.
So he doesn't think they should.
فبرأيك ما لازم يكون في مفاوضات؟
لا.
No.
Why don't the Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
ليش ما الفلسطينيين يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيليين عشان يلاقوا حل؟
ما هو احنا حاولنا كتير بس ما في حل. احنا بنحاول بس هم عمالهم مش مدينا مجال.
We have tried so much in the past, but we were unsuccessful. We couldn't find a solution. We are trying now, but the Israelis aren't allowing us to find a solution or a way.
Okay. Does she support the idea of negotiating? Is that okay?
شو رأيك أنت في المفاوضات؟ أنت مع الفكرة؟
طبعا مع الفكرة أسلم إلنا وإلهم.
Yes,
يعني
because
بدل إراقة الدماء هاي تبعتنا.
Because it's more peaceful for us and them instead of the bloodshed from our side and their side.
Okay, why don't the Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
ليش ما الفلسطينية يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيليين اللي يوجدوا حل؟
تعرف قديش إنه بتفاوض؟ هلا ندخل في السياسة. إنه 30 سنة بتفاوض. 30 سنة.
You know how long it's been since we you know how long it has been while we are negotiating? It's been 30 years.
Okay. So why isn't it working?
طب ليش مش عم تنجح المفاوضات؟
المفاوضات لأنهم اليهود ما بدهم يتمشوا ولا بشيء.
Because the Jews don't want to agree on anything.
Why don't the Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
ليش ما الفلسطينيين يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيليين عشان يلاقوا حل؟
يا ريت.
We wish.
بما أن احنا شغالين بإسرائيل وبنمرق المحاصيل، صحيح هي الظروف هاي شيء سياسي ما بنقدر نتدخل فيه، وإن شاء الله إنه يكون في الشيء العادل بين الطرفين.
We wish that this would happen, especially since we work in Israel, and we hope for this to happen. This is in the hands of the politicians. We hope for something just for both sides.
Why don't Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
They are negotiating. The Israelis are these who don't want to negotiate.
Okay, do you think Palestinians should negotiate a solution?
Of course, I believe that they should negotiate a solution, but that solution should be reasonable.
Okay, define reasonable. Define reasonable.
I'm sorry?
Define, what do you mean by reasonable?
It's very difficult to find reasonable, especially after the last statement of Trump, that within 2 weeks he's going to come here and say...
We ignore Trump. What do you think is reasonable?
Reasonable is to get East Jerusalem, to get the West Bank, and to get what was occupied in 67. That's what I think is reasonable.
I sense I know the question.
What do you think it is?
Is it about the Israeli people
Having
here? Yes. Like having the land here in Palestine?
No.
Not exactly.
No, not really.
The question is actually, why don't Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
I think our history is the main reason.
Okay.
Our history together.
Explain. What do you mean?
Like,
You're speaking to someone in the UK. They don't understand what you're saying.
يعني أسرى
عفوا.
أسرى
Detainees.
Yes. The
Prisoners.
Detainees.
Yeah, you could say they're prisoners. Okay, مش حابة أجاوب على السؤال. Sorry.
ولا حتى بالعربي؟
No, ولا حتى
I
بالعربي.
don't want to answer, not even in Arabic.
Okay. So, why don't Palestinians negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
ليش ما الفلسطينية يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيليين عشان يوجدوا حل؟
بصراحة المفاوضات مش جديدة. المفاوضات قديمة، ولكن المشكلة مش عند الفلسطينيين. المشكلة عند الوفاء بالالتزام من قبل الإسرائيليين.
So negotiations isn't something new, it's something old, and the problem isn't with Palestinians, it's with the Israelis not committing to what they promised.
وبالتالي احنا ما بنقدر ندخل مفاوضات جديدة طالما المفاوضات والاشياء القديمة ما تطبق منها اشي.
Thus, we cannot enter new negotiations while the old negotiations and the agreements have not been applied and done.
Give me an example of something that hasn't been applied.
ممكن تعطينا مثال على شيء لم يتم الوفاء فيه؟
إنشاء دولة فلسطينية على حدود ال 67 كان من ضمن قرارات الأمم المتحدة، عدة قرارات صدرت ولكن ما تمش تطبيق أي شيء.
Creating a Palestinian state on the 1967 borders was one of the agreements and decisions made by the UN, but it has not come to realization.
المستوطنات الغير شرعية كمان مثال، هاي في قرارات كثير على إزالتها ولكن للأسف بتزيد، فليش ندخل في مفاوضات جديدة طالما القديم ما فيش التزام؟ فبتصفي المختصر إنه بس تخلص تعطيها الخاتمة، إنه إحنا ما في عنا إشي، المفروض عند اليهود يكون في التزام للتطبيقات، وبالتالي لما نفقد الثقة منهم ما بنقدرش ندخل مفاوضات جديدة، يعني بنضحك على حالنا.
Another example is the illegal settlements that they have promised to remove, but they are still there. So to conclude, there are many things that they have promised and they have not been applied. في عنا سؤال ثاني بيحكي ليش ما الفلسطينيين يتفاوضوا مع الإسرائيليين عشان يلاقوا حل؟
لأنهم كلهم نفس الشيء، كمبيوتر واحد، لأنه تواسيس
Because they are all the same thing and all the PA
كلهم كمبيوتر
are
واحد
spies and they're using the same
تناسق مع إسرائيل
database
ومع
and they are coordinating with the Israelis.
في تناسق، بس بدهم إياه السلطة بتاخده وبدهم شيء، لأن بدهم واحد من السلطة من إسرائيل، لو بدها واحد من السلطة طوال بتسحبه وبتاخده.
If Israel wants someone from the PA area,
هذا أنا بدي يوصل لمازن بأساس لمازن.
the Israelis would drag him out and take him. But I want my message to reach the president of the PA.
Which is what?
ذنبه شاب 27 سنة.
My son is
يحبسوه
27
تهمة
years old.
ظلم، يحتموا تحت التعذيب كل أسنانه رايحات.
And he was tortured
وفتاة عنده كله مفتوح.
and all his
أنا هذه
teeth
سلطة، أنا هذه
have
سلطة.
fallen and now he has a hernia. What kind of Palestinian authority is this?
Wait, he was tortured by the Palestinian Authority? So why don't the Palestinian people negotiate with the Israelis to find a solution?
Because negotiation with the Israelis will not get us anywhere, because Israelis have violated the basic rights of Palestinians and the basic rights of humanity. And I think negotiation at this point would mean that we acknowledge the rightfulness of Israelis' presence here in Palestine.
So wait, so just to clarify, so even sitting down to talk with the Israelis to
Yes.
find a solution is acknowledging everything they've done?
Yes, definitely, because we have to show at all times that we refuse the Israeli presence here in Palestine, and it is obvious that it is a transgression to the basic rights of humanity and basic rights of Palestinians.
So then what can happen then if you won't negotiate? All conflicts around the world are solved either in two ways: war or negotiations.
Yeah.
So what are you left with? You have to declare war?
We excluded the negotiations, so yes.
War.
Here you have your answer. You basically...
But isn't it better to just negotiate?
Well...
To put aside your egos, to put aside your pride, and say, you know what, for my children, for my children's children, isn't that better?
Well, I think negotiation would be a solution if the conflict is equal on the two levels.
Meaning both sides have equal amounts of power.
Yes.
Then it makes sense.
But here we don't have that, and therefore negotiation would not make any sense, because we will eventually submit to their needs because we are in fact occupied, and that's what we need to understand.
So the idea is, because you don't have the power to conquer the Israelis, so the idea is what? You wait for hundreds of years until you do? That's the idea?
The idea is to survive. The idea is to stay and to always remind ourselves and remind the world that we are occupied. That's what everybody around the world needs to understand.
Please support the Ask Project. The way I'm able to do this is for you guys to donate and contribute money to the project, and I'm able to come to places like this and ask your questions. So please see the description, send me questions, subscribe, ring the bell, and donate and contribute money if you can.
Thank you.